When we're having those patterns of negative thinking, we're getting significance talking about our problems. And the more we talk about it and saying, I'm the only one going through it, the more we put ourselves in a deeper pit on purpose, because it makes us feel better that my problem is unique. But it's not.
Welcome to the Power of Machen, your podcast about taking action, pursuing passions, and turning ideas into reality. Each episode features insightful conversations with experts in various fields and successful individuals who have achieved great things. This podcast is about inspiring and motivating you for your personal growth and to go after what you really desire in life. If it's starting your own business, pursuing a creative endeavor, or simply making a positive change in your community, the Power of Machen is here to help you with actionable advice and real-life success stories that inspire you to tap into your potential and unleash your inner power. Tune in and let's make it happen together. Have you ever felt like life is pulling you in two directions at once, like you are stuck between what the world expects of you and what your heart truly wants? On today's episode, we are diving into the journey of Shyambo, who grew up navigating cultural expectations, personal struggles, and the challenges of finding his own path. From walking across dangerous highways, to feeling out of place in school, to discovering a life-changing spiritual mentor, Shyambo shares the lessons that helped him to turn self-doubt into clarity and negative thinking into freedom. If you ever wondered how to stay centered when life gets chaotic or how to turn your struggles into your greatest strengths, you don't want to miss this conversation. Stay tuned, because what Shyambo shares might just change the way you see yourself and the world forever. Welcome to the podcast, Shyambo. I'm really happy to have you here and I'm looking forward to continue our conversation.
Thanks, man. I'm surprised that our conversation started in a cold plunge and now we're in a sauna.
Yeah, that's how life goes. Sometimes great conversations start at unpredictable places. So let's give a little introduction about yourself and tell us who you are and where you come from.
Okay. First of all, I was very honored when you asked me, hey, I would love to have you on the podcast. No surprise, because you said I went to sleep that night and I kept thinking about what we were talking about and I want to continue this conversation. And it says a lot about you. So before I even get started, the nature that you had in that conversation really impressed me. It was just like inspiring for me because you were so inquisitive. It was new concepts, new thoughts. You're thinking and hearing things that you've probably hadn't heard before, but you had such an open mind to want to learn. And if everybody had that attitude in life, we'd have no problems. Nobody would be fighting with each other. Everyone would be able to live in harmony because it's like, oh, they're not different. I just don't know. And that's the approach that you approached it with. And I think that's something that your listeners, I don't know if anyone gets a chance to compliment you like that, but I'm going to start this podcast off by saying, those of you that are listening to this podcast, Rahman has like a sincere character. And it's like this attitude of just wanting to learn and wanting to be better. And the fact that he wanted to take this conversation, the first thing he said, I feel like the people in my network haven't thought of things this way and I think it would serve them. And so first off, I just wanted to say thank you for even thinking of it and setting this up. So cheers to you. So for me, I grew up in the United States, born and raised first generation Indian. Parents didn't have much money. Dad came with less than $10 in his pocket. The story, the American dream, made a life for himself. But he did it with hard work. I remember he used to walk to work and there were 4-lane highways, interstate highways. So in America, there are local highways that are within the state. Then there's highways that connect the state. It's called the interstate highway. And those, no pedestrians are allowed. You can't walk on it. But my dad had to get to work and he didn't have a car. And the job that he had and where he was living was across the interstate highway, or you walk all the way around using local roads and it'll take you like 45 minutes. Or you can cross a highway where everyone's going 65, 120 kilometers an hour. And there's 8 lanes, 4 going one way, 4 the other, and there's a cement barrier in between. And he used to run across the highway, jump over the barrier, and go to work so he can get there quicker. But he was just persistent. He found a way. He didn't speak English. He made it happen. And so like everything that I am today and everything that I'm able to do today and the life that I was able to live as I was growing up, it's a sacrifice of my parents. They really didn't have much to enjoy. Like I remember I asked my mom, I was like, how often did you go see movies? Like if we were able to save enough when we went to go get groceries, we would save up for a month or two and then maybe we'd go watch a movie. but they never bought anything full price. Everything was with coupons or on sale. Everything was, if they had to walk 45 minutes, this is like, me now, I'm like, that's a waste of your time. Like, your time is worth more than that. But at that time, they didn't have money. And it's not like they were earning $55 an hour. They were earning like chump change. And they'd walk 45 minutes walking to go get milk that was 10 cents cheaper. And then walk back. Just for 10 cents. I lost an hour and a half. But that's how we were able to have the life that we did. My mom didn't speak much English, so I got the both worlds. I got a little bit of my Gujarat, so it's western state of India, Gujarati culture, because my mom spoke that language, my grandma spoke that language, but my dad picked up a bit of English. And so I had a little bit of both. But there was one thing that I didn't have. I didn't have older siblings that were teaching me things. I was the first kid. And in my household, there was turmoil from time to time. My dad wasn't a part of any faith. My mom was when she was growing up, but she was kind of suppressed in what she was allowed to practice once they got married. You know, she had never even touched certain foods, and now she's preparing those meals, right? And it's just like everyone's intentions and where they wanted to go in life was different. And so I grew up in a household where spirituality wasn't the foundation at all. It was the furthest thing. No one talked about it. No one did it. At times we'd have monks in the Hindu tradition. We have monks who renounce. They, renounce money. They renounce wealth. They renounce family. And they just serve society. They go wherever people are and whoever invites them in to talk and help them live a life free of addictions and things like that. So sometimes we had monks come in because my mom still had that, so her brothers would invite them. So by proxy, my dad would be like, I can't say no, it's disrespectful, so then we would invite them. So I saw them, but didn't care for them, didn't understand anything about it, and no one talked to me about it. So I grew up really just wanting to be an American. The American dreams of I wanted girls around me, I wanted to party, I wanted to experience, and I wanted to make a lot of money. I wanted to be like Pete Sampras or Michael Jordan. I was a big tennis guy, I wanted to go pro. And there came a time in my life where these ambitions, it was the same as everybody else. I had these moments of weakness where I didn't feel good enough. I didn't speak perfect English, so I was in ESL, English as a second language class in elementary school. So while everyone's doing English class, I get pulled into a class with immigrants who can't speak English properly because my mom didn't teach me English. My dad could barely speak it. And whatever I learned, I'll tell you one story. It just gives you a context of where it came from and where my fears came from when I was growing up. We're in elementary kindergarten. I'm 6 years old, 5 years old. And someone said, who knows the alphabet song? And everyone puts their hands up, most people. And who knows the song that comes after the alphabet song? I don't know if you know, but there's a song like this. Now, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me? Oh, that's it. Yeah. You know what I thought it was? Because nobody corrected me. Now I know my ABCs. Now I know my sing with me. So I raise my hand. And the teacher picks on me. And I say that with confidence. I was like, I never raise my hand. I know this song. Sing it all the time. I didn't speak words. And everyone started laughing. And that was it. I don't know English. I can't speak. I'm not good enough. It got ingrained in me from that moment. I still remember every time I had an opportunity to answer a question, I'm like, I probably don't know the answer. Even though I know the answer, it's like, I'm probably wrong. Okay. And that happened all through elementary school. Okay. And then that shrunk me. My confidence got destroyed in front of the class where I thought I knew. And then as I was growing older, I just started judging myself constantly and any opportunity I had. So then I only found meek people, meek, M-E-E-K, right? Like weaker people emotionally. And I resonated with them. But then I started watching them. People would bully them. And then I'd find a way to step up for them because I knew they weren't going to respect me, but at least I can get them to stop picking on them, maybe just pick on me. And so I would step up for them. I would sit with them. I'd go say hi to them. I started just feeling for those that weren't taken seriously, that weren't taken care of. So I started seeing a part of me constantly noticing the one that's being picked on and then wanting to be like a spokesperson for them, or at least going and letting them know, yo, dude, I see you. Just sitting with them for lunch, having some leftover chips and noticing that nobody's talking to them. And I just go over and give them the bag of my Cheetos and said, I had enough, I'm full. You like Cheetos, right? I just give them the Cheetos and walk away. And I started seeing that developing. I don't know why. Maybe because I knew what it felt like to be picked on, but where did I have the self-awareness at 4th grade to do that? I don't know where it came from. I feel like it was something divinely inspired to just notice somebody who's hurting. And, still spirituality is absent. And then I get older, I'm in high school now, and I'm at this pivotal age. I'm sure you were there too. Was there ever a point in your life where you're like, okay, I can do this and lie to my parents, or I can tell the truth? But it was like the first time you remember thinking about doing that. Do you remember a time doing that? Yeah. Do you remember what it was?
Yes, of course. There have been several situations where I had to make a decision. I can't remember like a specific one right now, but definitely I had to make a decision and either go left or right. And most likely I first went left and then right, so probably both ways.
Yeah, I did a little bit of both. But there was a specific time when I'd walk home from school, there was a path that would lead to my house. So like, I didn't have to take the bus because I was so close. And so I'd walk from the track where the school track was, and there was like a little path that someone had cut in the woods. And it was paved, and it led to my neighborhood. So I could just walk straight to my house. It was like a 5-minute walk. And in that pathway was where all the kids who were doing marijuana for the first time would cut together and roll their blunts. And so because of my nature, I just got along with people. I knew what to say to make people like me because I didn't like being put down. I got along with almost everybody. The only group I didn't get along with were the popular people because they're the people I felt like I could never be like. But the ones who were outcasts or doing something different, people who just wanted to know that they're okay and I see them, I knew how to do that. So I just made friends with them. So I'd walk by and like other people were scared of walking that way, but they would protect me. Yo, Shyam, keep going, don't worry about it. He's like, you're good. You're good. And so I was like, all right, cool, I got these friends. And now one day the guy's like, hey, can you hold this? And they were pulling out more paper to roll another blunt. So I'm holding this joint. And I'm just like, hey, these guys are cool. They're doing this. Like, I should just try it once in a while. Like, I just a couple of puffs, like, what's it gonna do? And I remember as I was walking, and I'm like, how am I gonna lie to my parents? What am I gonna say? What if they can tell? What if they smell it on me? What if this? And I'm at that point, and then my friends are inviting me to the parties, and my parents aren't around. We're gonna have alcohol there. And like, I'm wanting to go to the party. I go to the party, and then I turn back, get in the car, and leave, come back home. And I'm like at this like really like interesting place in my brain where I can't figure out who I am. I'm just trying to fit in. And then somehow my mom, there was this monk, one of the most respected Hindu monks who I found out afterwards, who ended up spreading the values of Hinduism. And when you think about Hinduism, it's a collection of beliefs. It's not just one thing, but there's some underlying truths that all faiths, all sects of Hinduism adhere to and they believe in. And when it comes to piety, that's universal. Purity of thought and mind, universal. Self-control, discipline, universal. Developing a deeper relationship with you and the divine, universal. And this monk, he lived a really, really pious life, something that was very different and very noticeable by others. There's over 1 million and over 1.2 million renunciates in India. And of all of them, there's like an organization that collected and came together and said, okay, we're gonna be the coalition of all of us monks to be able to represent us across India and everything. The leader of that coalition said that if there was an example of what it means to live a life as a renunciate, it would be Pramukh Swami. And he pointed to him, and he wasn't even a part of this. He was just continuously doing his thing, finding people that needed to live an addiction-free life, people who are living in poverty, that are spending half their money on alcohol and drugs, and saying, look, you can send your kids to school. He's like, no, we don't have the money. He's like, yeah, you gotta give up alcohol. How much are you spending a month? That's enough for schooling and clothing and food. What if you gave up this too? What if you cleaned up your life? You wouldn't perpetuate this life of poverty. Then you'd be able to end that generational cycle and create something beautiful of your life. Even if it didn't matter what God you chose to, what name you gave that God, doesn't matter. But understand that this life was a gift for you. And so he wouldn't push any one agenda. He was pushed the simple agenda of purify your life. And when I saw that, and I had an opportunity of going to meet him because my mom forced my dad, you gotta get him to go, let him just place his hand on his head or, just be there to give him some blessings. And maybe that might change something in his life. And that might at least be good for him. And forget it if you don't want it, do it for the kids. So my dad takes me, we're supposed to go play golf. I'm like, where are we going? He goes, we gotta go here. He's like, why? I don't care for this. I'm sitting there, I don't know who this guy is. He asked me a question, he kind of gently just touched my head as he was talking to me, like a grandfather would. He was in his 80s, 85 years old. This is like so much love. I remember the love that I felt when he touched me, but I didn't understand it. But that's it. Went away. But then we started going to the local temple. And it's not called the temple in our language. It's a Sanskrit term. It's called mandir. Mandir, I remember, I was telling you, it's two words really merged into one. So it's like a conjunction. It's broken up. If you break it up, it's man, which is mind. Dir, which means to be still. A mandir is where you go to still the mind of the world and the conversations and the attachments to this body. And you have a deeper spiritual conversation. And you're going there to recognize that there's deeper meaning to this life and that there's something that I can connect with that's beyond me. And that there's a truth that connects us that's not just physical. There's something energetic. There's something deeper. And so that's what a mandir is. It's a place where you go to remind yourself of the temporary nature of this world. I didn't know any of this at that time. I'm going to play basketball because the kids are there and there's a basketball hoop. And I liked going because I was better than most of them. I could throw a football better than them. I played tennis on the varsity team. Like my ego was being caressed by going. But because I was there, I was in the environment, and then we have an assembly where there was a youth group happening. And what they're doing is one of the greatest lessons I have learned in my life. And this is what I feel like we'll kind of end it there, and then you can go and take it from there. You know, when you want to play a certain sport, I know a lot of people listening to this are a lot of athletes, And so just think of anyone who's listening to this. Think of when you were in high school and you were aspiring to play whatever sport you're playing, or you're a weightlifter and you're aspiring to be whatever. Did you look at Arnold Schwarzenegger? Mm-hmm. Did you look at, like a football player, a rugby player? Did you look at a football as in soccer, and then American football? Like, you had somebody you just like, I want to be like him. And then you look at the way he kicks, the way he juggles, the way he throws, whether it's cricket or not, if it's tennis, whatever it is. But you look at the way they live their life. You don't see their private life, but you see their light in the spotlight. You see how they play. You see how they talk. And what do we do as kids? We saw a movie, saw someone wearing their shirt a certain way, we start wearing the shirt that way. We saw someone wearing bell bottoms, we started wearing bell bottoms. Someone's wearing like a pop collar, we start doing a pop collar. We're idolizing. But most of the time we're doing it unconsciously. I'm in 10th grade, 9th grade now, where these kids are being taught to model a monk who owns nothing, who has nothing, who's spending his time serving people, who's forgiving, who's being compassionate, who's thinking, how can I help you better? How can I alleviate your pain? And I had never seen that. And now I'm sitting there hearing an incident from his life. Somebody had given him a toothpick and the toothpick fell. And so then they grabbed another toothpick. He was in his 80s. And then Pramukh Swami started reaching down looking for the toothpick. He's like, no, it's dirty now. He's like, no, it's not. We can rinse it in the water. How do we get these toothpicks? We had to use money. Where did the money come from? Devotees donated. So this money is God's money. Even for a toothpick, we can't waste it. And I heard this when I was in 9th grade. I'm like, what the heck, a toothpick? You get 1,000 for $4. But if you're caring that much about a toothpick because a devotee, hard-earned money, decided to donate money to be able to help build this infrastructure, imagine how much he's caring about the little things. And now my brain's starting to switch. And he's talking about piety. He's talking about no addictions. He's talking about don't do things to please the people around you. Live a life that would please God, that will make God proud. What can you do where if you entered the home of God, God came running to you? Those visuals now started being thrown into my brain. I still don't have a freaking clue what the hell is God. But there's a visual of a concept, a door that I didn't even know existed. It's like we're living in this room. We got these two doors behind us and those two over there. There's a door here we don't know. Got to break the sheetrock, get through it. And then I was like, whoa, there's a whole nother world out here. That's what my brain was doing. I'm aspiring to one thing, and now I'm seeing that there's another world, another way to live. And now I'm like, just freaking A, what do I do? Do I go left or right? And that's where my whole journey in spirituality started, because I said, let me try. Let me try not doing this once. Let me try not eating the thing I enjoy the most once. What does that do for me? What did I gain? I started realizing I gained freedom. I saw my peers being pushed around left and right by that person's opinion, this person's attention, pleasing that person, wanting this. And I saw myself sitting there and be like, yeah, it rained. I got a little wet. And I dried up. And I never thought of it that way before. It's like, I didn't need to complain about the rain all of a sudden. It's like, how could I appreciate about that? It's like, I didn't need the umbrella. I didn't have to run and scream like, ah, you know, when you're in high school, it was like it starts raining, you run away. I'm just walking and I was like, wow, I'm not affected by this. Oh, I'm free from the impact and the effects of that one thing that's outside of me. Ooh, what else could I learn? What else could I gain? Do you see where I'm going? Mm-hmm. Now I'm in high school, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. So in the US, you're in high school from 9 to 12. Yeah, sure. And then you do college. And I'm like at this point of like, I'm making decisions that are like drastically different from my peers because I start realizing that it gave me control over my circumstances. And I started controlling things that were in my control, my reaction. And I didn't realize it. And that led me to one realization. My dad's like, what do you want to do when you get older? And I said, I have no idea. All I know is what I've learned in the last 3 years is I want to help people stop being miserable. And I couldn't figure out what the hell, I don't know what to do. How do you do that? He's like, why don't you be a doctor? It's like, you'll be able to alleviate pain. So like the best thing. You can always help people. You can go anywhere in the world, you can help people. And I said, nah, I don't know. He's like, think about it. I'm in business class, an elective. I'm learning the 101s of business. 3 things happen. I'll never forget this day. Bell rings, kid walks in, gets annoyed. Bell's so freaking loud and gets upset and stuff and like sits down pissed off. Same bell from every single day. Every class, 18 times a day the bell will ring or whatever, right? Like, so what are you complaining about it? But I didn't think anything. And then the second person, teacher starts talking and stuff, went to the board, goes to the board, starts writing stuff, and then she whispers, like, his voice is so annoying. So annoying. Like, speaks out of his nose. And I just listened, and I was like, And I was just like, that's something, like, you can't change that. Like, well, in my brain, I was like, oh, she's complained about that. He complained about the bell. And then a few minutes into class, there was a bird outside the window. It's probably like 20 minutes in, the bird's chirping. And I was listening to it. I was like, that's so freaking beautiful. I was like talking to another bird. It was just like, that's really nice. I was daydreaming. I wasn't paying attention in class. I wasn't a good student. I didn't really care about like the books. So now I'm like, this kid goes, it's like, man, someone's got to shoot that bird. Shut it up. It's so loud. It's annoying. And I remember that moment. I'm like, what a miserable life. Like, imagine if you went through life and the only thing you knew how to do was complain about the things that happened in the life that you were gifted in that moment, in that day. And the only thing you were talking about with your friends and peers were things that went wrong. And I was sitting there, I was like, you can't control any of those things. Why are you complaining about it? Why don't you find something to appreciate? Just ignore it. Numb yourself to it. You can do that. You know when you're in a place and there's like a humming sound, you notice it in the beginning, but then you just ignore it. Then you forget it's even there until someone points it out again. Your brain has the capacity of doing that. But at that time, I was fascinated by this ability of some people being able to and some people not. And then I went home and told my dad, I know what I want to do. I want to help people not fix the pain in their knee. Because if I fix the pain in their knee, I'll just give them more energy to complain about things that they complain about. I'd rather help them fix the knots in their mind that's preventing them from being happy. So forget the pain in their body. What about the thing that's in their mind that's actually causing pain, that's causing suffering? And he's like, how are you going to do that? I'm like, I have no freaking clue. I have no idea. And so he's like, okay, so then what are you going to do? I was like, I don't know, I guess I'll just go through medicine. And I went into something I didn't want to do. Miserable. First semester was okay. You know, I was like, studied so hard, focused all my time. Then the classes got harder. Now I'm memorizing. And I had this thing in my brain that I don't know how to memorize. You know the language you tell yourself it's a self-fulfilling prophecy? You know how this time I've called you by name every single time? Mm-hmm. In the last 20 years of my life, I cannot remember, and I'm not exaggerating, like my hand on my heart, I cannot remember a time in my life where I have met this many people. If I've met one person at an event, I've forgotten their name 5 minutes later. I've remembered 45 names. Okay. Every single person I've met, almost every single one, I remember their name. I changed that language. Before I came, I said that I can do anything. I kept telling myself, of course I remember names. God's giving me this brain. It's infinite. There's no limit to its capacity. I can do this. What was I saying?
Speaking about med school.
Yeah, so I'm in medical school, sorry. And like memorizing. And so I'm like, I can't do this. I can't memorize. And so I start like not paying attention to classes. I got distracted. I was really focused spiritually. Then all my peer group is like encouraging me to do this and do that, eat out and come out, hang out with this and that. And I was really focused with what I was doing. But it's slowly, it's like you keep chipping away at a rock, slowly it cracks. No matter how strong I was freshman year and sophomore year, junior year, I started to crack a little bit. And then I started seeking validation. I started seeking the attention of other people. And at the same time, I don't know what the hell I'm doing with my career. And then I'm sitting down and praying the same prayer that I did every single morning, deeply trying to connect myself to God, realizing I'm living two lives now all of a sudden. I'm pretending to be someone because I want them to like me. And then I'm sitting down, practicing humility, reminding myself that all this is temporary, but the worlds aren't meshing anymore. It's like all of a sudden I started diverging. And my brain started pretending the moment I got off the mat. The moment I stopped turning the rosary, all of a sudden I'm living something else. But I get reminded of it again. I put reminders on my hand and stuff. But now I'm making decisions, all seeking the attention of other people. And then I go down this rabbit hole of just negative thinking. I can't do medical school. I can't tell my parents I'm a failure. And all these people, I'm pretending to be someone I'm not. If I was the person I am, no one would accept me. So why should I even be here? And my thoughts went to the most ugliest place I can imagine. I can't, I'm a failure to my parents. I'm a failure as a human. I start judging myself so hard. I stop going to class because I'm scared of driving my car, because what if I do something dumb? What if I drive into something? I start planning stuff in my head. It just became really dark. And it was all because I thought I had to get out of it, and I was ashamed of the pattern of some mistakes I made. And then I finally got the courage to talk to someone. But when I talked to them, I felt now pressured that I had to get out of it for them. And the words that they used made me feel like if I didn't do it, I would upset them too. So I suppressed myself even more. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. You know the feeling. Everyone knows that feeling. And that's why now it's when someone comes to me and they're in pain, the last thing I'll say is where they have to go. The first thing I'll do is, dude, I get it. Let's talk. Tell me more. Okay. And so that was the dark period of my life.
I would like to come back to one topic you were mentioning about focusing in life. Sometimes there's noise which might disturb us, and people get annoyed, whatever noise it might be, which shows up and comes up in life. I would like to understand a little bit further, a little bit more, how do you set the right focus? How do you change the perspective not to be disturbed and to come back on track to focus on what really matters for you in life?
Very simple. Model someone who has something you want. You can make your own path on your own, and your path will be like this, right? With business, this. Why recreate the wheel? Why do I have to figure it out from scratch? If someone has happiness, someone has joy, someone has stability, mental stability, someone has patience, someone has humility, and I want that because I know that's going to give me joy, then why not think, what do they do in that situation? How do they think in this situation? Because then, instead of you trying to figure out, how do I forgive that person? How am I supposed to do it? Just model what you just saw somebody else do. And then over time, you experience it. And so the way I've created that direction is I looked towards the life of my gurus, my spiritual teachers, Pramukh Swami, who passed in 2016, and currently Mahant Swami. And I look at them and I'm just saying, you freaking have everything everybody wants. Absolute calm, stability, just full of love. And all right, when someone spit in your face and someone had a misunderstanding and they said this to you, what did you focus on? And someone came, they got some news that they thought was what happened, but it wasn't what it was true. They came into an assembly, stood up, and just started cursing him out, Pramukh Swami. And in that moment, people are trying to get him to stop, and Pramukh Swami says, everyone stop, let him talk. And he says everything he had to say, and he just listened. And then Pramukh Swami apologized. He hadn't even done anything. He apologized. And the guy was ending up leaving. He's like, please, don't leave. And he called one of the people that were nearby. He's like, please go make sure he gets fed before he leaves. Go get him some food, give him some water, let him sit and just relax, and then let him go. In the moment where he's getting cursed out, he's thinking about making sure that person's fed before he leaves. Where's his focus? On the words or how he can treat the person? That's how I train my focus. I look and study the life of the people I want to be like. When I wanted to play like Sampras, I studied his serve. How did I train my focus? I looked at what he did and what I wanted, and I trained myself to serve that way. Serve and volley, serve and volley. How do I hit the forehand so I can come into the net? Where did I learn that? I can do it on my own, but you think I would have been able to compete at first singles as quickly as I did if I didn't model someone? That's how I decide.
And at the same time, we are individuals. We go through individual challenges, individual experiences, and there might be situations where it's difficult to find a role model to learn from. So what to do then? How to deal with those kind of situations?
I hear you. This is awesome. Great freaking question. It seems as if there's no one that's going through it. What we see is, this is what I learned after I went through that bout of negative thinking. I don't like calling it depression because everyone has an image of what depression is. The way I've learned after going through it twice, the last time being 10 years ago, and now it's like I don't even have a depressive thought with that word, is that depression is a pattern of negative thinking, of self-pity. And the more often you think about what I don't have, what didn't go well, what's not working right, they did to me, it's just thoughts of self-pity. And it was the second time around that my Guru Mahant Swami said it. He's like, remember that the root of depression is self-pity. And that blew my freaking mind. And the moment he said that, it changed everything. So what I'm trying to say is, whatever you're going through in life, the event with the billions of variables is completely different. But the emotion is the same. There's a limited number of emotions that humans feel. If we had to list out all the emotions you felt in the last month, it'd probably be a list of 20, even though there's hundreds of words to describe the number of emotions that we can experience. But we pretty much experience a short number. You know this from being in Tony Robbins' world. There's a short number of emotions that we really experience. And so though events might be different, the pity is pity. The fear is fear. The anger is anger. Jealousy is jealousy. Hunger, thirst is thirst and hunger. We experience it the same internally, but externally the circumstances might be different. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So like sometimes we tell ourselves, like I know people that are struggling, they say there's no one going through something like this. We're like, yeah, really? Really? You think there's nobody else on this earth that was molested when they were a kid? Nobody else. Nobody else. Maybe not by the same thing, same situation, same time, same way, same everything, but you think there's other people that struggle through pain worse than you? Don't be so naive. Don't be on a high horse with your pain. That's what I did. My pain is my pain, and there's significance. You know, Tony talks about we want significance. When we're having those patterns of negative thinking, we're getting significance talking about our problems. And the more we talk about it and saying, I'm the only one going through it, the more we put ourselves in a deeper pit on purpose because it makes us feel better that my problem is unique. But it's not.
Understanding your emotions, understanding your patterns, understanding your negative thoughts is, I believe, already like a big step, like a big capability of self-reflection. So let's just assume we are able to do that, we understand our patterns, our emotions, our negativity. We're still miserable. So my question is how to get out of that situation, how to change that pattern for good, to get out of that negative loop.
That's good too. So the way that I can only speak from my experience of what I've learned and what my spiritual teachers have taught me. I've said it before, I'll say it again. There's very few people on this planet that have the level of stability that I've witnessed firsthand and the level of no privacy. And I'm saying this for a reason because I want to explain what it is that I learned afterwards. Imagine a person, Pramukh Swami, the moment he he was placed as the guru of the organization by his guru and said, okay, after me, it's him. From that day till the day he passed away, he didn't have a moment of privacy except the time when he went number 2 or number 1. He slept in a room and he was never alone. He never read a newspaper, never watched the news, never read a book, never watched TV, never went to go see movies. He spent all of his time around people. He ate with people. He slept with people, in the rooms together. They're all serving together. He did everything in the public space. Can you imagine if you went a week and you didn't have privacy? You'd go crazy. Can you imagine 50 plus years of doing this? And your life is just an open book to be observed every moment. And in the process, what you start realizing is the stability didn't come from a behavior. The stability came from thought. So I see this happen all the time, and I'm in these spaces. I've been teaching yoga for a while. I've been teaching meditation and how to use your breath to calm your nervous system. I've been doing all of this, and I've been in this space for about 15 years in the Western world, right? The way that they've adopted yoga into their life. And what you notice is there's a practice that happens on the mat. Not everyone's doing this. Many people are diving deeper, but most aren't. There's a practice that happens on the mat. Then you have that experience. Then you go back and you're the same person. The same things frustrate you. The same things piss you off. Oh, I got to go to another yoga retreat. I got to turn my mind off and get away from things. Yoga is not about getting away from things. It's about managing things. It's learning how to manage it. But in yoga theory, not the physical practice, it's all thought. So how do you understand the world around you? And there's this fantastic, if you look at anyone who practices Buddhism, do you notice they just have a level calm about themselves? People who genuinely meditate and they're mindful, they're just not flustered by things. And it's the same in Hinduism. There's a really simple concept, and it's known, the Sanskrit term is Sankhya. So to answer your question, once you, say if you slow down, if you're out of a state of fight or flight, you cannot be aware of your emotions unless you get yourself out of the state of fight and flight where your nervous system is activated. You have to find a way to calm your nervous system. Once you do that and you're aware, I'm feeling this, I'm noticing this, what will happen is you'll identify with that emotion. I'm angry. I am jealous. I'm hurt. But you're not. You're Roman. And you're not even Roman. You're more than Roman. There's an essence within you that's deeper than that, that's keeping this heart beating. And so if we believe that I am those emotions, then how can you separate yourself from it? You can't. And so one of the core, there's like two thoughts. One, that this body's a vessel. It's a tool that I've been gifted by the universe, by chance, by statistics, by God, whatever you want to use, to do something to make this world a better place, to maybe grow and find some deeper sense of joy and happiness, whatever that might be, whatever your belief is there. But there's something more to this life than just this physical world. And then the second is this term called Sankhya. Sankhya is this understanding. It's not this belief. It's an understanding. It's an absolute sense of certainty that this world is temporary. That this bottle left outside for a few hundred years will disintegrate. Same thing with all this fruit, this water, my body. It ages, falls apart, breaks, dies. Plants, everything around us is going to shift. Fiji didn't look like this a million years ago. It's all changed. It's going to change in another 1,000 years. Recognizing and understanding those two things helps you, one, detach yourself from the emotion. I am feeling these things. I am not these things. And then whatever I'm feeling is temporary. And there's something deeper and more true to my existence beyond this temporary world. And if you can find beliefs and these understandings to see the same world that's around you differently, then you can get yourself out of that place or that emotion or that feeling. When you get beat up on it, I'll tell you the one thing that'll change anyone's life. And this was, when I was starting my podcast, The Brighter Mindset, when I started my company, I wrote a letter to my guru. And I do this every single time because he gives me so much direction. Like, he's lived this life. When you have what they have and what they experience, there's no doubt the direction that you're going to get is going to be the one in the right direction to help you be there. Instead of it being about validation or proving yourself, you know it's going to be for something deeper. And so I asked him, I was like, okay, I'm going to start this podcast about all these spiritual truths that I've learned that have changed my life, the way I look at the world, from everything about why to forgive, how that's the most logical thing to do, why to love, how important empathy is, all these things. I said, if there's one thing that you believe that I should definitely talk about, and if I've forgotten, please let me know. And he wrote a reply. And he said, on your podcast, ensure you speak about the ability of having divya bhav. Divya means a divine. Bhav means intention. To look out into the world with a divine intention. And then the way he said, but explain it in a way that others will understand. And then he specifically said, to see the good in others and in events. This is the foundation of a good life. And so imagine whatever you're going through, and you become aware of your emotions, and you have this practice that what can I find in this moment, in this experience, in this thing that's a gift, that's good, that's serving me. We hear this from Tony. What's the gift in this? Is this happening to me, or is it happening for me? You notice there's similarities in all of this stuff. And you see Tony living a certain, we've seen his life, right? We see how he teaches, and from when he was 30 years old to like now he's 65, he's still teaching the same, living the same way. What is it? It's an understanding of how to see his role in his life, what's important in life. It's not just the practice and self-awareness, but that doesn't happen when you're in pain. You can't practice to do a 5-minute hold on a bar and hang the moment someone tells you. You got to practice up until the competition. You can't, practice for MMA in the MMA ring. You got to do it before in the gym. And so with the mind, you can't practice in the moments of pain. You have to prepare yourself knowing that that's going to come. So I would prepare myself and say, I might lose my leg. When I go skiing, I might hurt myself. Like in the future, there's a chance I might get into an accident. What will I do? What if I become a quadriplegic? When I'm doing these Sankhya meditations, I'm imagining everything around me falling apart. And if it falls apart, can I still maintain stability? I should be able to. Because if I understand the truth of this world and the truth of my nature, then this is all temporary. And so I would literally meditate, modeling people I've seen in the tradition. And I would imagine there was this gentleman who, in today's day and age, he was a billionaire in India. And his name was Shivlal Sheth. Shivlal, just know him as Shivlal. He was an extremely wealthy business guy. And one time he was sitting in an assembly, and he leaves the assembly after it was done. He could have stayed there amongst all the monks and all the devotees and stuff, but he's like, dude, I'm gonna go buy gold here, I can go to a nearby town, and I'm gonna go make a few $100,000 current dollars in rupees in that time. And so he did that. And he comes back, and then the lead monk, the first spiritual guru, or the teacher in my tradition, he was there, and he said, where'd you go, Shivlal? He's like, I went to the town, and I just made a profit of a few 100,000 rupees in a matter of 45 minutes, because I knew where to sell and how to sell it. And he's like, so have you ever considered doing business with the leftovers of sugarcane? So if you know sugarcane, that's where the sugarcane juice, and that's where sugar comes from. What do you do with the fibers that's left over? Usually people burned it, just threw it out. Back in those days, now people make plates out of it. But back in those days, 300 years ago, nobody would think of it. Why the hell would you think of anything? No one's gonna do any business with this. He's like, would you ever consider doing a business with just the leftovers of the sugar cane? And he's like, no, Swamiji, why are you asking? He's like, because what you just did now was you took dirt and sold it for dirt, and you brought back more dirt. The value is in learning how to deepen your spirituality, not in how to make more money. And you think of this, he had the rapport with him to tell him that and explain that. He was really deeply involved in the faith and learning about spirituality. He thought, let me serve the community, let me serve the temple with this. He's like, that's great that you're gonna donate all of this, but remember and keep in mind this one truth, that all of this is dirt. The only truth is, what are you doing for your soul? What are you achieving? But that practice of thinking that way, believing that way, it happens on a daily basis. So then Shivlal, his dad, came to Gunatitanand Swami, the Swami I'm referring to, the first guru, and he asked him, can you teach me how to meditate? How do you get detached from this world? And he said, don't ask me, ask your son. And he's like, why? He's like, go ask him. So he sits with him the next day. He's like, can you teach me how to meditate? How do you do Sankhya? How do you meditate on the temporary nature of this world? He's like, Dad, I don't think you want to do that. He's like, why? He's like, see this city of Botad? Botad was a city they pretty much ran half the city. And he's like, first thing I do is I burn the city in my mind. I imagine that it caught fire. No one's getting hurt, it just caught fire. All of our wealth just caught fire. Then I imagine our house caught fire. Then I imagine all of you just passed away through age. And all of those ashes are sitting there. I make a pile of those ashes. Then I imagine that my body also burned away. And I put those ashes in a pile, and I sit as my divine self, as my soul. I sit upon that pile and say, there's nothing but me and God. There's nothing but my relationship with me and God. All this is temporary, but I'm going to create. He achieved. A billionaire at that time, he pursued, but without attachment. There's a famous story of Janak. He's a king in the old days. He was sitting and he had a dream that his entire kingdom was burning. And he was sitting in an assembly. And he was a king, and he was really pious, but he had to take care of his people. And he arranged for whatever needed to be done to take care of his people, but his home and palace was burning. But he didn't run. He couldn't do anything. It was done. He was not gonna be able to put enough water to put it out. And the people were asking him, it's like, how come you didn't get up? It's like, because it was never mine from the beginning. It was just mine to take care of. But once it was something I couldn't take care of anymore, why repent? Now imagine breaking an iPhone, getting into an accident with your car, and you have that attitude. It was never mine from the beginning. It was just mine to take care of while I had it. How would that change your life and your approach to pain and things that you didn't expect? Oh, I broke my leg in a skiing accident. Aren't you upset? It's like, no, this body was working perfectly as it was supposed to for as long as it was supposed to. Why do I have this illusion that it's supposed to be perfect for me until the day I die? This is what I have now. Can I make the most of this? Of course I can. Do you see? It's a thought. The thought is developed in times of peace and calm, where your mind is stable, before any pain comes. It's just like working in the gym. You got to work your mind out. So when the difficulty and stress comes, you have the strength to handle it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it totally makes sense. And I like the idea of training the mind, like you train a muscle. You have to like practice and train it regularly, like every day, every week, every month to improve. And I really like the idea of letting go, letting go situations, letting go thoughts, letting go even like possessions, because you cannot take it with you in the end, and also accepting that.
Do you think that if you had that thought at points in your life where you were really in pain because you lost something, how would it have changed?
Yes, I'm sure it makes a big difference when you go through difficult times, when you are able to change your perspective, to understand that after pain, better times will follow. Like after winter there is spring, after rain there is sun. So I'm sure if you're able to have that capability to change your perspective, it will help a lot.
Let me ask you a question then, a better question. How much pain do you think you would have avoided by understanding that or believing that? Years worth? Months worth?
Yes, I'm sure you could save months, even years of suffering, understanding that thought of letting go and not sticking to your negativity and to your negative thoughts.
So now when people would tell me, it's like, why do you do this? Why do you fast? Why do you do this? Why do you not eat this? Why do you restrict yourself? I was like, brother, sister, you see it as a restriction. I see it as freedom. Because now I'm not a victim to my circumstances. I've got this muscle of strength that nobody can see. It's in here. It's just, I tell people all the time, it's like, life doesn't need to change for it to get better. Just the way you see it. It's just the way you see it. Obviously, if you're in a place where you're physically being abused, I'm not talking about those extreme cases. I'm talking about what 90% of us experience on a day-to-day basis. You got cut off. Nothing wrong happened. It's like what Tony says, every event is neutral. The moment you apply a meaning to it, is this good or bad? Now you're giving yourself a chance to experience an emotion that's either good or bad. But everything's neutral. But now if I have this underlying thing, what's the good? This was for me. Now all of a sudden I'm just immediately seeing, great. I remember I just had a flat. The moment I had the flat, I was like, oh, thank God. And like someone was in the car, I was like, why are you so happy? It's like, at least it didn't happen on the highway. It's not midnight. It's the middle part of the day. Phone has signal. I have battery. Like so many different things could have been worse. But like immediately doing that, it's a gift that you can give yourself. And then if you learn it, you give it to your kids. And then you stop this generational like pattern of just finding pain in life. And then forget antidepressants. People will be like, what drug are you on? I want some.
I would like to jump to a different topic and to get your opinion on, especially when it comes to achievement and fulfillment. I have the perception that many people in the world are out there like trying to achieve their goals, running after their private goals, their professional goals to really reach what they are aiming for, but they're kind of like missing fulfillment and maybe don't even like recognize how important fulfillment is. So I would like to get your opinion about achieving goals and how important fulfillment in life is.
I think they're two different things, but they can come together. Mm-hmm. It just requires a perspective change and a motivation change. When people are achieving things, they're challenging themselves. They want to pursue something that's difficult. They want to make it happen. They want to say that I can do this. I did it. I solved this problem. But most of the time at the end of the day, the thing that's driving us so much to go forward isn't a sense of, I want to feel more peace within my heart, more satisfaction, more stability, more love, more growth from a perspective of like, how can I be a better beacon of service on planet Earth and make this world a better place. You know, there was a study, I don't know the specifics, but I do remember how freaking outstanding it was. They looked at 65 plus different modalities of different things you can do to manage stress. This is important, so I'm expressing it. And what they looked at was all the different things that you can do, from massage to therapy to drugs to like mushrooms, whatever, to be able to reduce stress in the body. And they found that none of them sustained a good way of managing the stress in the body, but one did. And the only thing that medically reduced stress and sustainably kept it down was somebody who by mind and by heart chose to be in the service of another human being. Okay. That reduced inflammation in the body, and it reduced stress in the mind, and it improved health and almost all health markers. Just helping another human being, feeling that you had value and purpose. Most of us take our purpose as our career and what we're achieving. I'm supposed to be a basketball player or a football player or a rugby player or a boxer, and I'm a boxer and that's my identity. No, it's not. What if you ask the question that, am I more than this? You think about people who achieve the greatest heights of like their professional career, and then they retire. You find very few people that had as much stability of mind as Kobe Bryant did. Do you remember when he was retiring, when people asked him, are you gonna miss this game? He said, I'm really happy with what I've done. This is great, but I'm more than this. I'm a father to my kids. He had an identity that was rooted in something deeper than just what they were achieving externally. Now, most of the stuff that we're achieving, it's almost always external. And when in your life have you ever heard that fulfillment was an external game? That once you reached Mount Everest, do you know that the people who landed on the moon, Neil Armstrong, and like the people that were there that went to the moon and they came back, almost all of them suffered depression? Because what came back? They were known as the men who walked on the face of the moon. And their identity was tied with being an astronaut and going to the moon. What the heck are you going to achieve in your life that's greater than walking on the frickin' moon? From an external standpoint, measuring if you're comparing. What are you going to achieve? Their identity was, I'm someone who walked on the moon. So now what the heck are they going to tie to their identity? Their whole identity was tied to something outside of them, not what they were capable of doing in terms of inspiring in somebody else. So I remember I wrote a letter, this was before I wrote it. I remember Pramukh Swami. This is Pramukh Swami right here. I carry some of the books with me. So you're asking me, where do I get my direction? I carry books that have like the words that people have written down of things that they've done. This is Mahan Swami talking about what the root of spirituality is. Like, what's the core of spirituality and how does it manifest in your life? And it's so simple. Now think about this, it's harmony. If you were spiritual, your behavior, your thoughts, your lifestyle, your everything would be such that me being in your space would make me feel loved, make me feel safe, make me feel comfortable, make me want to grow, make me want to be around you. That's harmony. Now, if I'm insistent, it's like, dude, get out. That's not harmony. If I go up to you and I fold my hands or just say nicely, it's like, it's so nice to see you here. It's been a long time. My friend and I were thinking of recording a podcast here. I know we took up this space and stuff, but is it okay if we use the space to do this recording? You can sit here, but I didn't want to tell you that you can't talk or stuff, but like, if you wanted to do whatever you need to, we'll find another spot. Does that inspire harmony? Or does telling someone what to do? That's humility. And so there's certain things that I've learned and picked up. And the same thing with Pramukh Swami. I just carry those books with me. He said something while he's eating breakfast. There's a month, and this is what you're getting at. There's a month in the Indian calendar where it's like, you go to your guru for that 1 month, and every single day in the morning you ask, what's today's lesson? What do we introspect on today? And someone asked, like, can you explain to us what real progress is? Now just look at your life and think about anyone who's listening. This is a moment for you to introspect. Write this down and ask a question. Up until now, how have I measured progress in my life? What had to have happened? The question to ask is, what had to happen for me to feel like I've grown? What had to have happened for me to feel like I've progressed in my life? Don't separate life and work and everything. What did you see as your measure of progress in life? Most of the time, it's something that we wanted to achieve. Pramukh Swami, while eating breakfast, said 4 things till this day I cannot forget. And this is like, it just hit me so hard. And this is it. This is the foundation of everything I do. He said, real progress. Now you can measure progress and turn it to fulfillment. You can turn it to growth. You can change the word, whatever you want. Real progress is that by which, so any action or any thought by which you experience more peace within your heart. You experience more love for yourself, for others and all. Not just one person or a specific group of people. You genuinely in your heart, you end up having this overflowing sense of love for people around you and anyone and everyone. You end up developing a deeper desire. It grows this deeper desire within you to want to be good and be better and to help others. Remember that study? To help others. And then the last one was, it deepens your sense of spirituality. And what is spirituality? The way Mohan Swami explained it, it's the ability of being able to create harmony around you. And it's in your thoughts. You can have discord in your mind and not express it outwardly. You can have anger in your mind and not show it. But harmony is when there's harmony in your mind, harmony in your heart, harmony in your actions. And that comes by living certain truths that are universal. Being humble, not having insistence, and all of these things. So when you think about achievement, now take these 4 things. Peace in your heart, love for one and all, especially the person who screwed you over, especially the person who stole money from you, especially the person who cheated on you. I've been through all these. And if you can stand, I remember this one situation, we lost over $300,000, actually even more than that. Some of my wife's father's life insurance money, a large amount, just got taken because we were manipulated and we got fooled into something, never got it back. And I remember for like a few months, I was just like resenting this guy. And my wife would just be like, she could see it on my face. Like, your energy just shifts. When you're not happy about something or you're hurt by someone, people don't like being around you. You know that feeling. You don't like being around people like that. So if you can sense it in somebody, imagine what it's doing to your insides. So I remember she just held my hand and be like, do you think us feeling this way about him is going to make our life better? And she said, do you think that like we could just express and experience a bit more love towards him and just consider that money was never ours to have? It's over 300K, like almost 300K. And I'm like, and she just said, just reminded me of these simple lessons. She's like, he didn't do it. Everything is happening for our best. And then I'm like, you're right. The greatest lesson we learned from this is not to hold on to money and think that it's ours forever. Let's learn to start giving it away. We started donating. We started saying, we're going to get money. God's going to always provide. We're always going to do good. We're always going to try to serve. And in that moment, I remember 6 months later, I'm in Abu Dhabi, where the king donated land to my guru and said, we have 1 million Hindus. First stone traditional Hindu temple in the history of humanity, born in a Middle Eastern country, like in a Middle Eastern country, was just opened in 2024. Would you ever freaking go to Dubai, you gotta let me know. You gotta go check this place out. It's mind-blowing. Like a concoction of harmony from all faiths built into a Hindu temple. It's incredible. We were there and my guru was walking by and he happened to be right there. And I was sitting down and I saw him next to the stage. And I told my wife, I was like, I'll be right back. I went right next to him. And I went to him and I bowed down, touched his feet. I just want to say, dude, it's great to see you. And I gave him a hug and he was so caught off guard. And I just said, brother, like we're in this together. We're going in the same direction. Forget what happened. I've forgotten it. You forget it as well. Because the person sitting right there, he will be more happy with us. And our hearts will be filled with more joy if we're able to still hold hands and say, we're brothers. And so I held his hand, and as my guru left and he was walking off stage, and we both held our hands and put our hands like this. The feeling of absolute peace I had in my heart in that moment, there's no freaking experience on earth that I have had to that day that can experience the level of joy and sensation of my vibrating. Because I knew that this is a virtue that pleases God. When you look at your life now and you ask yourself, what I'm about to do, is it going to increase the experience of love that I'm going to experience in my life, in my heart? Is it going to make my heart more tender? Is this next thing I'm about to do going to give me real peace? Not cursing that guy off because, hey, finally, man, I'm at peace now. I got to turn that. That's not peace. Don't fool yourself. Don't be ignorant. Be honest. Be truthful. We talk about it all the time. Leaders are those that see things as they are, not how as they wish they were, or not worse than they are either. They see it as they are, and then they make it better. So look at your life, and what are the language you're using? How are you actually judging yourself? Are you really just giving your ego the power? Or are you giving yourself a chance to really experience peace that comes from something completely different? Are you doing something, or what you're about to do, is it going to give you a greater sense of wow, this is going to inspire me to be better? Is this going to give you a sense of I want to do this again? I want to help more people. How can I make the lives of the people around me even easier? You see someone when you're here in Fiji, you see people cleaning and they're moving that chair and they're moving that thing. Could you not get up and help them take some dirt off the ground and take that thing and throw it in the garbage? No, it's their job. It's their job. It is, you're right. But if you're there, could you not help? That desire to look for an opportunity to help changes the equation. And the last one is just deepening your sense of spirituality, whether you believe in God, whether you believe that there's something greater, you believe in the universe, or you just know that there's more to life than this. Is the thing I'm about to do going to help that? And then you start measuring fulfillment with what I get to feel internally, not once I attain that. And then you make different decisions. You invest in different things. You spend time with different people. Then you start surrounding yourself with things that amplify your opportunity to feel more fulfillment now than later.
And again, what you just explained, in my perception, takes time and it takes practice to really reach that mindset, what you just explained. But let's try to chunk it up a little bit. What could be 3 practical steps people could try to reach that state of mind?
I'd say, hands down, without a doubt, you must get good at calming your nervous system. If you want to change your thought, you first have to know what thoughts are in there.
Okay, so calming your nervous system
is the first thing.
Through the breath.
You can use breathing. Yeah. You can use walks in nature. You can use anything. Don't document it. This is for you. This is for your growth. This is separating yourself from the things that stress you. But doing it, if you can, ideally while sitting still. Mm-hmm. Journal, right? Journaling, all these different things of being different ways to be able to, packing that with that one simple thought. What is in this moment is good? What's serving me in this moment? How is this a gift? How can I find the good in this moment immediately? Because no matter what work you do, man, no matter what I tell you to do, if you're gonna look for the things that aren't going right, it doesn't matter what internal work you've done, you're gonna be a victim. And you're not gonna put the effort in. This is the best thing that could have happened to me. Train yourself to find that. That's a muscle. It doesn't happen overnight.
So calm your nervous system, number 1. Number 2, look for the good in the bad, or?
Look for the good in the bad and in every moment. Get into a habit of just walking and say, what's beautiful about this moment? What's great about this? Because if you don't do it when it's good, why do you think you're gonna do it when something horrible happens? You won't. Do it when things are great. Do it when things are mediocre. And then maybe you'll do it when things aren't going so well. But when you calm yourself, then you can maybe think clearly. Because your prefrontal cortex is where you got to do the thinking. You got to get there. So this is what I train my clients. The first thing we do is you want to learn how to grow this, or you want to make better decisions, you want to understand how to find more fulfillment? Great. That's step 3. Let's calm our nervous system first. Let's reduce the inflammation in our body do you need to be drinking that much? Because if your body's inflamed, so is your mind. And if your mind's inflamed, you can't think clearly. Then no matter how much you try to calm your nervous system, you're still going to have a cloudy thought. You're still going to be fighting things. We got to work with both the body and the mind. Learn to treat it like a temple. And then I would say the second thing is finding the good in everything that you do. And the third thing, if I were going to say this, is write this down. And ask yourself repeatedly when you're journaling, when you're making goals, you're setting a week goal, 5-year goal, ask yourself, is my goal just to achieve something external? Or is this goal giving me one of these 4 things? Because the more you introspect on this, Roman, you're gonna see that you won't really be able to add anything to these 4 things, and it'll make it even more robust. It already has everything. And you won't be able to take one of these out and you feel like, oh, it's enough with just these 3. That one little thing adds an element that infinitely makes it even better. So first thing I'd say is calm your nervous system, get used to putting food in your body that helps support life, energy. get used to and like introspecting and thinking constantly about what is right in this moment, what is beautiful in this moment, what's going well, what is something you can appreciate about somebody, what can you find about their lifestyle, especially people that have hurt you. You know how you do that? Nobody is like, I'm not gonna, like, I can never forgive that person. It's like, you don't need to, the best thing to do is forgive them, but if you can't get there, what about the way that they live their life can you adopt into your life that can make you a better person? Everyone's got something they do well. Not every single person's a blob and a complete waste of life. You can look at everyone and find discipline, even if it's in the wrong things. They can be disciplined in hurting people, but dude, he's so disciplined in that. If I was just that disciplined in my morning practice, my life would change, because he does it every single moment of his life. But you can still see something like that. It's not superficial, you're still trying to grow. But the last thing would be like, if you're not measuring, you're never gonna grow, because you don't know what to change. You have to measure. And so the simplest way of doing is if you start seeing the good, you'll start making better decisions. You start from a calm place, you'll make better decisions. And then the last thing is, then when you're in that decision and you're making a goal, you're trying to do anything, just ask, like, did I really need to do that? And what did I get out of it? Be honest. Don't look at what everyone else is achieving, because most of the people on earth are achieving things externally. That's why antidepressants are sold more than any other drug on earth, because everyone's depressed. Everyone's upset about their life situation. They're not looking at the good, and they're not looking for doing things that brings internal satisfaction. They're just trying to look a certain way, be a certain person, be liked by a certain group of people. Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I'd say these 3 things would change your life drastically. I'd say pray to God. I'd say add a rosary into your lifestyle, add some sort of spiritual practice into your life. All these things are great. But for your listeners that are listening, if you have a spiritual practice, this will help you deepen it. But if you don't have a spiritual practice, this might inspire you to want to start one. But these 3 things, this is just off the top of my head, like I can see this as being like a surefire way of you making better choices. And that's where life is. Your destiny is determined in the choices and decisions you make. Tony Robbins says that all the time. How do you improve your decisions? Slow down, get in your prefrontal cortex, be logical, pragmatic, and have something to measure your decisions by. Measure where you're at. What are you doing? Be honest. Don't lie to yourself. And then just ask, how can I get more of this in my life this week or today? Just one thing. Can I help a stranger? Can I say something kind to somebody who helped me? That Uber driver that was driving super fast and super nervous, or like just really upset with life that you wanted to leave a bad rating for? Could you just say, hey man, look, I was really stressed. I didn't think I'd be able to get to my thing on time. I appreciate you getting me here. Like, I don't know what you're going through, but like, I just want you to know that like, thanks for driving Uber and being here to pick me up today. You can give a compliment to somebody that fills your cup, but it could change someone else's entire day. People are demonizing cops all over the world. Well, the next time you see a cop that's not beating somebody, go up to him and say something kind. It's like, dude, you have a tough job, and I appreciate you for doing what you do. Like, I'm able to do what I do because those of you, you put your life on the line all the line, and I'll never understand that. Forget about those bad apples. Why don't you go polish a good apple a little bit? You know how many times I've done that with my son? And the cop afterward would be like, dude, you don't have a clue how badly I needed to hear that today. Cops have given me hugs. Like, they're just mood shifts. Like, hey, I wanted to say something to you. They're coming in. Every person that's going up to either going up with a problem or something negative to say. Imagine if you can just change someone's day by just finding something deeply within them, just to say something kind. If you can't find, you don't know anything about their character, compliment them on their looks. You walk different when someone compliments you and you don't expect it. Those people that can easily make a bad decision and then be demonized are the people that we need to be giving love to. So that's what I'd say. It's like, there's so many things you can do. There's like little things.
I'm sure a lot of people will be inspired and get a lot of impulses of what you just shared here in the podcast. So thanks for that. So how can get people in touch with you? How can they get to know you better and learn more about the work you do?
I'm literally in the process of building out all of my websites. So what my handle is going to be is different, but my Instagram is going to be the same. My Instagram is Shyambo, Shyambo. And if you wanted to reach out through that, you can. You can reach out through my email as well, through my company, which is also going to stay the same. It's hello, like hello, HELLO, at thebrightermindset.com. THE, you can put it on the screen if you have it, or anyone listening, THE, brighter, like the sun is brighter, BRIGHTER, mindset, like mindset.com. And you can reach out in both those places. And, I I love just getting people to help see their situation differently. That gives me a high. And so if you're struggling and you're trying to figure out like, how do I do any of these things? Like this is my jam. And I'm going to do this till the day I die. Like if you can help someone just have a better quality of life, like why wouldn't you want to do it? And so I found my magic. We never finished the old story, but eventually encountered Tony, learned about neuroscience and all this stuff. And I merged it with all my spiritual practices. And then I just realized that, wow, you merge all this stuff together and make it practical for people, it can change anyone's life. And so now I help people do this, regulate their nervous system and all that stuff. So you reach out on Instagram or email me. And yeah, if anyone that knows you or anyone that you've worked with in the past, let me know. And let me know if you've worked with him. And then if you refer anybody, just let me know and I'll talk to you.
We will put the information in the show notes so the listeners can easily get in touch with you. At the end of each podcast episode, I do ask my guests the 3 questions of wisdom. So just imagine your happy life is coming to an end. You achieved everything you wanted to achieve. You achieved fulfillment. All your dreams became true. And now you're lying on your deathbed and your loved ones are around you. Whoever that might be in your case, your family, your kids, your friends, your colleagues, your spiritual leaders, whoever you want to have at your deathbed. And now you have the chance to pass on your 3 truths. What are your 3 truths you want to pass on to your loved ones?
Everything that's happened, and that will happen is happening at the will of God. And every single thing is happening for your best. Not for the best of your body, but for the best in the growth of your soul. Every single thing, no matter what you think about it, that's your mind and body thinking about it. But the purpose of this life is to grow deeper in connection with the divine and the soul and use your existence on this earth to be able to make the lives of others and to alleviate the pain of others. So the first thing I would say is there's nothing that is happening to you, and every single thing that's happening has the hand of the divine within it. The second thing I'd say is everything, every creature, everything around you is vibrating the essence of the divine. There's a life force that is within everything. So treat everyone and everything with the respect that you would give if you had the opportunity of standing in front of God. How would you treat them? How would you think about them? What would you say to them? How would you behave around them? And I'm thinking about my son. It's like, what would I want him to know? The best and the fastest way that you can improve the quality of your life is by doing 2 things. Find a guru. Find someone who has what nobody else has. Study their life. Model their life. Embody the truths. Trust them. Trust someone who wants nothing. Follow someone who needs nothing, who asks for nothing, who craves nothing. Find somebody like Mahan Swami, who you can model your life around to give you the points of fulfillment that you want within. And do that by this last thing I'm tying into the last one, and I'm cheating. Saying the fastest way to change and enhance the quality of your life is by asking better quality of questions. And so those are the 3 things. Everything that is happening by the will of God and by the hand of God. And there's divine within every single person, everything on earth, and treat them with the respect that you would want to give the essence of the universe in every single moment of your interaction. And the last thing is, do not go about life trying to recreate the wheel and try to start fire on your own. Model somebody who's done it before and enhance the quality of your life by learning how to ask better questions, which requires humility. Those are the 3 things I'd say.
Thank you very much, Shyam. I'm so happy and so grateful that we had this conversation. Thank you very much for making the time and sharing your knowledge, your wisdom, your experiences with me and the listeners. In my eyes, you are a role model already. You're living up to your own standards, and you are in service to the community, to other people, really helping them to become better versions of themselves and also like to overcome challenges in their life. So I wish you all the best for your future projects, and I'm looking forward to continue this conversation in the future. Thank you very much.
I really appreciate it, Roman. This was a fantastic conversation. Like, this conversation wouldn't start in the cold plunge, and it was great because of the questions you asked. Like, if there's someone who asks quality questions, you're doing it. And I'm sure the guests feel it as well, because it's deep. I said it in the beginning, but honestly, we can never really take credit for anything that we've done. There's so many people that have nurtured us and molded us and helped us think the way that we think and see the world that we see it. So like the millions of people that have impacted us, whether they know it or not, thousands of people, they deserve more thanks than we'll ever be able to give for helping us live the way that we're living. And so thanks again. This was fantastic. I'm excited to continue this conversation and see how we can merge our energies together to see how we can help other people and alleviate a little bit more pain on this planet. Do it together. Why not?
Thank you for tuning into this episode of the podcast with Shyam. We hope you enjoyed the conversation and gained valuable insights on how to navigate life's challenges, cultivate mental clarity, and create a mindset that turns struggle into growth. If you want to learn more about Shyam or any of the topics discussed in this episode, be sure to check out the show notes for relevant links and resources. And if you haven't already, please follow the podcast to make sure you don't miss future episodes. We would love to hear your thoughts, so leave us a comment or review and let us know what resonated with you the most. Your feedback helps us to continue to bring inspiring stories and actionable ideas for personal growth and transformation. Finally, share this episode with a friend or colleague who might benefit from Shyam's insights and experiences. Thanks again for listening, and we will see you next time on the podcast.